Chapter 15. Preparing for Battle. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and pine, wrapping our camp in a thick, suffocating shroud. Shadows flickered under the towering trees, twisting like the memories that refused to leave me alone. Ezra stood by my side, his presence a solid anchor in the storm raging inside my chest. Our eyes met, and without words, we forged a silent pact, a promise made from a mix of fear and determination. "Pack," Ezra called, his deep voice slicing through the tension like a blade. It echoed off the ancient trunks, reverberating around us. Slowly, figures began to stir from the shadows, drawn to him like moths to a flame. The warriors emerged, their faces set with grim determination, though doubt still flickered in their eyes, ghosts of what we had already lost. I stepped forward, my heart pounding hard enough that I could feel it reverberating in my ribs. The energy of the gathered pack buzzed around me, fragile, as if it could shatter at any moment like delicate glass. I drew in a deep breath, feeling the earth beneath my feet, and forced my voice to rise above the murmurs. "Listen to me," I said, even as my throat tightened with uncertainty. "We face the witches who have cursed us, shackled us in darkness." My words were steady, but inside, I was fighting a storm. I could feel their eyes on me, looking for confidence, for a leader who wasn't broken by the past. Every gaze felt like a knife. Each whisper of wind carried echoes of my childhood, my uncle, my isolation, my despair. "To break this curse, we must unite," I continued. It was as if the forest was leaning in, branches straining to catch each word. "We are more than victims. We are the storm they cannot contain. Together, we will reclaim what is ours." I watched as something shifted in their eyes. Was it hope? Or perhaps defiance? I wasn't sure, still haunted by the specters of my own past failures. Could I truly lead them into this darkness? Would I be the flame that lit the way, or the spark that ended up consuming us all? "Tonight, we fight not just for ourselves, but for those who came before us," I said, my breath hitching. I could almost hear them, the lost souls entwined with our fates, pleading for resolution. Their weight pressed down on me, a mantle I wore uneasily. My voice trembled as I reached the heart of my plea, desperation giving it power. We owe it to them to rise, to stand against the darkness. We owe it to ourselves. Ezra's gaze burned beside me, fierce yet tender, a beacon of reassurance that I wasn't alone in this fight. But even as I drew strength from him, the shadows seemed to press closer, waiting for the moment we might falter. "Prepare yourselves," I commanded, swallowing the fear that threatened to drown me. "The time has come." The pack moved as one, an intricate dance of resolve and doubt, a rhythm that echoed the heartbeat of the forest itself. I stayed where I was, just for a moment longer, listening to the sounds, the rustle of leather, the scrape of swords, the murmurs of encouragement. Yet beneath it all, there was a dark melody, reminding me that even in unity, we were haunted by our past. As I looked up at the darkening sky, I felt the weight of the moon pressing down, a watchful eye on our descent into chaos. The hour was close, and with it, our fate loomed ever nearer. The air thickened as the pack moved, their shadows blending into the encroaching twilight. I could feel the anticipation vibrating beneath my feet, like the forest itself was holding its breath, caught in the tension between loyalty and fear. "Forward!" Dorian's voice cut through the murmurs like a blade, steady and sure. His tall figure loomed beside Ivy, her petite frame radiant yet fragile against the gathering dark. I watched them, both preparing for a fight that lingered like an unsung dirge. "Do we really stand a chance?" Ivy's words were barely more than a whisper, lost in the rustling winds that swept through the trees. She tightened her grip on her weapon, her knuckles white against the dark wood. I could see the turmoil in her green eyes, a storm of uncertainty. "Together, we are stronger than any curse," Dorian replied, his calmness a shield against the storm brewing inside her. He turned to me, his eyes meeting mine with a flicker of confidence. Still, I wasn't convinced. Our past clung to us like a shadow, growing heavier with each step we took into the night. Then Lila appeared, her fiery hair glowing in the dim light. She stepped toward me, her piercing blue eyes searching mine, uncovering the ghosts I tried so hard to bury. With a knowing nod, she moved closer, her presence like a touch of warmth in the cold that settled deep inside me. "Amara," she said, her voice melodic but filled with urgency. "You are not just our alpha. You are our heart. Remember what binds us." Her words enveloped me, comforting and suffocating all at once. I wanted to believe her, to feel the bond she spoke of, that sense of unity holding us together. But beneath her reassurances, I could still feel the bitterness of past betrayals, the haunting memories of those we'd lost, and the choices I'd made that still echoed in the hollow spaces of my mind. "Strength isn't just in numbers, Red," I said, my voice steadying though it felt foreign. "It's knowing we share the same fears." "Exactly." Her smile was bright but fragile, a mask over her own uncertainty. "We carry our burdens, but we share them. We will face this together." As her words faded into the gathering gloom, I held on to that hope, even as it threatened to slip through my fingers like mist. The forest seemed to breathe around us, watching, judging. The shadows stretched long and dark, taunting us with the weight of our past. How many had fallen before? How many would fall tonight? "Stand strong," I whispered, more to myself than to her. I needed to believe it, needed to summon the resolve buried beneath the fear that coiled around my heart. "Always," Lila said, her voice a steady thread woven into our shared fate. For a fleeting moment, I believed her, as the pack surged forward in unity, a dark tide against the cursed horizon. But in the back of my mind, there was still that insidious whisper, a reminder that even the strongest bonds could break beneath an unforgiving moon. The air was heavy, thick with the tension of our impending confrontation. I watched the warriors move, their faces set with determination, eyes narrowed against the shadows flickering in the firelight. The scraping of metal against stone echoed through the camp, a relentless rhythm of preparation. Dorian Blackwood stood apart, his jaw clenched as he sharpened his dagger, every stroke deliberate and precise. The blade glinted in the light, a stark reminder of what awaited us. "Stay focused," I whispered, though my voice was barely audible over the sounds of the camp. Ivy tightened her armor, each metallic click like a whisper of past battles, echoes of those who had fought before us. She glanced my way, her gaze steady yet haunted, a reflection of my own growing dread. "Amara," Lila's voice cut through the haze. I turned to meet her knowing nod. She fastened her gear with practiced ease, her leather armor hugging her like a second skin. I envied her confidence, the way she embraced the fight with such fierce loyalty. "We do this together." "Together," I repeated, though the word felt fragile on my tongue. It lingered between us, a delicate promise, a thin thread connecting us amidst the chaos. I stepped back, seeking solitude beneath the tall pines. Their gnarled branches reached toward the sky like skeletal fingers, and the boundary between the earth and shadows blurred in the fading light. My heart pounded, its frantic rhythm drowning out the clamor of my pack. I needed to center myself, to draw strength from the ground beneath me. Closing my eyes, I took a deep breath, letting the scent of earth and pine wash over me. The forest pulsed around me, alive and watchful, as if it could sense the turmoil within. The ancient energy in the roots below seemed to hum in tune with my heartbeat, whispering secrets I could almost grasp. "Channel the moonlight," I remembered, the words an echo from childhood tales recited around campfires. The moonlight held power, a gift within me, waiting for me to claim it. I reached for it, feeling its soft glow at the edge of my mind, beckoning me closer. "Please," I whispered, my thoughts tinged with desperation. I imagined the silvery light cascading over me, wrapping me in its warmth, awakening the power within. The world around me blurred, and I swayed, feeling the forest leaning in, holding its breath. But the past loomed large, memories clawing at me like wild beasts. The pain, the fear, the echoes of the witch's cruel laughter, they twisted in my chest. Would I falter again? Would I succumb to the darkness once more? Focus, I murmured, pulling myself away from the shadows. Each breath drew the energy closer, filling the empty spaces fear had carved out. The forest whispered back, a soft rustle of leaves acknowledging my struggle. Amara! Lila's voice rang out again, sharper, pulling me back to reality. Urgency surged in me, a tide of strength. I opened my eyes to see the vibrant greens of the forest, alive and breathing. It was a testament to my bond with this land. Together, I said again, this time with conviction. I felt the connection deepen, intertwining my heartbeat with the pulse of the forest. As my warriors continued their preparations, I stood tall, ready to face whatever awaited us beyond the shadows. The sharp clang of metal echoed through the encampment, a relentless reminder of what lay ahead. I stood at the edge, watching as the warriors honed their blades, their faces shadowed by determination. Each swing, each scrape against steel, resonated with an urgency that clawed at my insides. I could feel the weight of my past pressing down like the heavy canopy above. Captivity had wrapped around me like chains forged in darkness, each link a memory I wished to forget. The cruel laughter of my uncle still echoed in the corners of my mind, a specter haunting the edges of my resolve. I shuddered, pushing it aside, forcing myself to focus on the present. Amara! Ezra's voice pulled me from the depths of my thoughts, grounding me in the moment. His presence was magnetic, drawing me closer as he approached. The camp's flickering torches cast shadows across his chiseled features, highlighting the golden hue of his eyes that seemed to see straight into my soul. "Are you ready?" he asked, though we both knew the answer danced just beneath the surface of my composed exterior. "More than ever," I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. The truth weighed heavier than any weapon I wielded. Today, I would confront the witches who had played puppet master with our lives. But the echoes of my past loomed, whispering doubts, reminding me that I had once been powerless, a mere pawn in a game far beyond my understanding. "Then let us face them together." His hand brushed against mine, warmth radiating from his touch like a breath of life amidst the chill of uncertainty. It was a simple gesture, yet it ignited a fire within me, illuminating the shadows that whispered of failure and fear. "Together," I echoed, clinging to the promise of unity. In that fleeting moment, everything else faded, the memories of dread, the terror of the curse, the ghosts of battles lost. It was just Ezra and me, two hearts beating fiercely against the tide of despair. "Remember," he murmured, leaning closer, his breath warm against my ear. "You are not alone. You are stronger than you think." His words wrapped around my heart, bolstering my spirit like a talisman against the encroaching dark. I took a deep breath, inhaling the earthy scent of the forest mingled with the sharpened iron of impending battle. With each heartbeat, a mantra formed in my chest. I am more than my past. I will rise. But the lingering shadows were not easily banished. They curled around the edges of my consciousness, taunting me with images of captivity, of betrayal. I saw the faces of those I'd lost, their hollow gazes pleading for me to remember the cost of my freedom. "Amara?" Ezra's voice broke through the haze, the concern etched in his brow pulling me back. I met his gaze, searching for strength in the depths of his golden eyes. He was my anchor in this storm, a fierce protector ready to fight alongside me. "Let them come," I whispered, my resolve solidifying. I pushed past the creeping horror that threatened to swallow me whole, channeling the power of my heritage, the ancient blood coursing through my veins. The moon hung high above, its silvery glow casting a spell upon the land, and I felt the pull of its energy thrumming beneath my skin. "Tonight, I reclaim my place," I declared softly, knowing the weight of those words. They were a promise to myself, a vow to rise from the ashes of the past and embrace my destiny as Alpha Queen. Tonight, we fight for our future, Ezra affirmed, standing tall beside me, unwavering in his support. The connection between us pulsed, vibrant and alive, fortifying our shared resolve as the sounds of preparation swirled around us, a symphony of courage woven from threads of loyalty and love. As the last rays of daylight dipped below the horizon, I steeled myself, ready to step into the unknown. Together, we would face the looming shadows, armed not just with weapons, but with the strength of our bond. The past may haunt me, but it would no longer define me. Tonight, we would rise. The murmur of the night enveloped us as I stood at the center, Ezra by my side, our pack gathering around like shadows drawn to a flickering flame. The air was thick with unspoken fears, a tension that crackled between us, and I could feel the weight of their gazes, each pair infused with hope, desperation, and the haunted remnants of our shared pasts. "Amara," someone whispered, though I couldn't discern who. The voice echoed in my mind, an unsettling reminder of those who had fallen before us, their sacrifices woven into the fabric of our fight. I glanced at Ezra, his golden eyes holding mine, grounding me in a moment where darkness loomed just beyond our fragile circle. The forest around us hushed, the ancient trees standing sentinel, their gnarled branches reaching toward the moon as if pleading for mercy. It felt as though they too were aware of the storm brewing within our hearts, a tempest of dread and defiance. "Tonight we face the witches," I breathed, my voice barely rising above the rustling leaves. A shiver danced down my spine, reminding me of the horrors lurking just out of sight, waiting to ensnare us in their wicked grasp. But I pushed it aside, swallowed hard against the bile that threatened to rise. "Gather close," Ezra commanded, his deep voice resonating through the silence, a rallying call that sent ripples of electricity coursing through the pack. They moved in closer, forming an unbroken ring around us, each warrior's breath mingling with the cool night air, creating a rhythm that beat in time with my rapid pulse. "Look at each other," I urged, my own heart racing. "We are bound by blood and sacrifice. Each of you carries the weight of our legacy, and tonight, we reclaim what is ours." My words hung heavy, laden with unfulfilled promises, and the ghosts of those who had come before us, their faces etched into my memory like haunting specters. I saw them, the flicker of determination in Ivy Thorn's emerald gaze, Dorian Blackwood's tense jaw, Lila Red Thorn clutching her weapon tightly, knuckles white as snow. Their loyalty anchored me, but the specter of doubt lingered. Could I guide them, lead them into the maw of despair? "Tonight, we fight," I declared, the fervor building within me like a wildfire. Not just for ourselves, but for every soul lost to the darkness. My voice trembled with the weight of my conviction, fear writhing beneath the surface, a venomous serpent coiling tighter as I spoke. "Let the moon bear witness," I cried, and the words erupted from my lips, raw and primal. The echoes of my voice rang out into the depths of the Enchanted Forest, intertwining with the sighs of the wind and the silence of the night. A collective breath held in anticipation, as if the world itself awaited our next move. Together, we shall emerge victorious or fall as one. I pressed on, my pulse quickening, drowning out the whispers of doubt that clawed at the fringes of my consciousness. In this moment, I wielded not just my own resolve but the strength of my pack, a force forged in shared pain and undying loyalty. "Are you with me?" I demanded, the question cutting through the chill of the night, igniting a flicker of fire in the hearts surrounding me. And as they roared in response, a chorus of voices entwined in unity, the air shimmered with an electric energy, vibrating with purpose and possibility. "Then let us claim our destiny." With those final words, I felt the ground shift beneath me, the very essence of the forest responding to our call as we prepared to march into the abyss. The lingering shadows of our past trailed behind like darkened phantoms, but for the first time, I welcomed them. They would remind me of what we fought for, the sins we sought to rectify. As we stepped forward, the quiet of the woods embraced us, a somber melody echoing the heartbeat of ages past. We were not merely warriors. We were the echoes of our ancestors, rising to challenge the cursed fate laid upon us. The weight of the world rested upon my shoulders, but with each step, I felt the chains of my captivity shatter, leaving only the fierce, unyielding spirit of the Alpha Queen that was finally awakening within me.